too. Let's talk about hair loss. We're also going to talk about hair graying. Look, I started going bald when I was in my mid-20s. I was told to blame my mother's side of the family. Is there any truth to that, genetically speaking?
Well, there's a little bit of truth to that. There are over 600 genes that are involved in hair loss, and only about 20 of them are found on the X chromosome, which is what you get from your mother, which accounts for about 11% of male pattern baldness is what we're talking about here. If you're a female, it's 50-50 whether it comes from your father or your mother, because these genes are carried on the X chromosome. So yeah, I mean, a little bit is you can blame your mother's side, but most of it is fairly random with your parents. But there's a strong genetic component, no question. It can be slightly slowed with these treatments and modifications to your aging rate, but ultimately, in this case, it's genetically determined. That said, no one's ever died from hair loss or hair graying, so it's not such a big issue.
And actually, it can be dangerous to have long hair in some instances.
Well, yeah, even in my lab, if you have really long hair and you look into a centrifuge, it can be quite a mess afterwards.
Also, for people who do a lot of work with pyrotechnics, long hair, bad idea.
Right, says the guy who lost his hair a while ago.
Yes, I'm safe from that. But am I aging faster than other people? Because I mean, is that an indicator? I mean, again, I started losing my hair really, really early. Is that an indicator that I was aging early?
Not in this case. We've evolved as primates, as descendants of these apes 6 million years ago, to show off our age, particularly as men, because as we get gray, we lose our hair, we become more dominant. We seem to the rest of the tribe, we used to, that we were wiser and we had more influence. These days,
stronger. We made it through the other apes. That's why we look old.
Yeah, well, think of the silverback gorilla. That's the dominant one. Right? Same with humans. This was a sign that you should be given respect. Not so much these days in our society. It's more about staying younger. But in previous times, even just going back a few hundred years, being gray and distinguished was a real bonus.
Okay, so why at just a fundamental level does hair loss occur? I mean, I understand the evolutionary drivers, but at a cellular level, what's going on?
Well, it really goes back to stem cells. These are the cells that keep dividing asymmetrically, giving rise to other cell types, and that they reside in the bulge of the hair follicle. And there are a variety of types. There are some that are just there to produce the keratin in the hair. There are others that are there, melanocytes, to produce the color. There's a new type of stem cell. It's called the HAP, the hair follicle-associated pluripotent stem cell, that people have found you can now isolate and turn into bone and muscle. We don't know what roles they exactly play. But what we think happens during aging, and was only recently discovered less than a few months ago, is that the important stem cells for hair regrowth get kicked out of the hair follicle. They get spat out, which was unexpected. We thought that they died, but they actually get expelled.
These get shot out like a little cannon.
Right. And there's a video of this that I tweeted about at the time. And so what that means is that you want to prevent that from them getting expelled. But also you want to maintain their function as well, which is all about preserving their epigenome, their ability to remember the type of cell that they are. More externally, what we've known for since the 1960s is that the hair follicle shrinks and gets small, caused in part by dihydrotestosterone. And when that happens, the hair becomes thinner and thinner until it stops going through what's called the anagen phase, which is the hair growth phase, as opposed to the other three phases, which are called catagen, telogen, and exogen.
And this is really what a lot of the treatments are aimed at preventing. Let's talk about some of those. There's topical treatments, there's pills, there's some other stuff, but let's start with topical treatments. These are creams that you rub on your